You beast! Good night, he puts them in the grave.
Only one, no, there's two entries!
It's a brutal beatdown, and he's got another one! AKM is back!
Justice reigns from above.
That's it, it's Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Mitch Lazy, Matt Morella here to kick off your final day of week 3 of stage 2. And Matt, the playoff race is definitely underway, not only for the stage, but also for the season. And our first two teams today definitely have their eye on the prize.
Yeah, I mean, they're both, well, Vancouver at the top of the food chain, right? You know, in terms of the playoff hunt, playoff chase for the overall year. Boston still there. They're kind of hanging in there in that middle of the pack. This would be a huge upset win if they're able to get it here today, but it would be a massive one, right? You see right now they sit at 6-5 on the outside looking in of the guaranteed playoff berth spots. If they do fall from 7-12, though, you have the play-in matches for those final 2 spots.
And you see that gap between 6th place and 7th. There's 2 wins in there between the Future and Uprising. Boston definitely want to cross that threshold and get into the top of the pack, but there's a lot of competition there. It is quite stiff indeed. Let's have a look at stage 2, though. It's a bit of a different story. The Gladiators and the New York Excelsior have already clinched their playoff spots for this stage. Boston, though, are outside of that right now at 2-2. They've got 3 more games to play, and they need to find their way in.
Yeah, I mean, they're 500 right now, but the -3 in map differential definitely hurts them. You see the Titans at 4-0, plus 12. Even if they were to win here with a sweep, they don't necessarily guarantee a spot yet. There's still some other things that would need to happen for that to, go through.
Now, this game is a rematch from our Stage 1 playoffs, where Vancouver went head-to-head with Boston. Boston, we expected, maybe had an outside chance of getting in, but in reality, Matt, it was anything but close.
Yeah, no, I mean, you still see Note here on the team for the Boston Uprising, last match that he played for this team. And you expected Vancouver to come in and dominate, and I think they did just that. I think if you're the Boston Uprising, you got some of your younger players, newer players, some experience in a playoff-like scenario. I expect them to come out with a little bit of better showing today because they're defending a bit of a win streak. So you see the longest match win streak in Overwatch League history. Now last year, 2018, the Boston Uprising, they go on a crazy run, 15 straight wins. If the Titans were able to win this, they tie that, which is so impressive for a team that comes straight from contenders into the Overwatch League.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's interesting that's obviously to equal that record, they're taking on the previous holder of it. Yeah. You see New York is featured on that list, but they have a crazy tendency to just lose series for absolutely no reason. They've done the same this stage, in fact. But now, let's focus on the big dogs. It's time to bring to the stage the Vancouver Titans. And they are the kings of the jungle, Matt. There's no doubt about it. They have faced every challenger in the league and come out on top pretty comfortably. They've only dropped 2 maps in this stage so far, and they were worried about New York potentially nipping at their heels. Now, I don't think that needs to be a worry for them. They're looking at first seed in stage 2 to get that cruisy berth into playoffs.
And I know right now you kind of look, and it's really just them and the Shock, at least in my opinion. The teams that could hang at the top. Bumper, Summonsoo, such great. The main tank with Bumper, Summonsoo on the Zarya, so sick. The supports for this lineup, though, are nutty. Slime on the Lucio. We saw what Toby did yesterday against Dallas. Feel all the moves. Slime brings that same thing, and then Twilight on the Zen, really a difference maker.
And their opponents are undoubtedly the underdog. They're looking for revenge in this playoff rematch. Let's bring on out the Boston Uprising. This team is so funny. In year 1 or season 1, Boston had incredible performances in odd-numbered stages, essentially. They were great in stages 1 and 3. A very new-look team this year. Boston aren't afraid to completely, change the face of their roster to get results. 2-2 right now in this stage with the addition of RCK, who statistically is one of the top-performing diva players in the league, but it's often his somber influence that this team looks to.
Yeah, I was going to say, this also gives Boston the opportunity in this series to really test how good they are at playing the Sombra version of GOATS, where you have, the 3 supports, the Ryan Zarya with the Sombra instead of the Diva. I think RCK brings that look where Note really didn't have that for this team, where they had to just go at each other head-on-head in the triple tank, triple support matchup.
And of course, Fusions is a play that a lot of people have had their eye on for quite some time. Even before entering into the Overwatch League, he made his grand stage debut when he played for the United Kingdom at the Overwatch World Cup last year. But he had a few choice words to mention about his opposition on the main tank role in Bumper.
If you can body anybody in the league in a 1v1 Rhyme battle, who would it be?
I really want to get revenge on Bumper, so Bumper would have to be the player.
Pretty straightforward. If you could body anybody in the Overwatch League, it's always like Fusion's do. That clip was being played. He definitely wants revenge. Bumper is a very assertive Reinhardt player, and Fusion's is kind of known for a similar style, Matt. Reinhardt players that act as the centerpiece for their teams, but also can sort of be the weak point.
So you see the map set presented by Toyota, and you know what I like about Fusions is he doesn't change that regardless of what's going on in the game. He's always going to stay aggressive for the Boston Uprising. Liang Tower to kick things off, followed by Paris, Kings Row, and Gibraltar. So Kings Row, really good standard, triple tank, triple support map. Paris and Gibraltar, you can do some interesting things. Maybe we see Fusions have to play a little bit more Winston than we've seen from him in the Overwatch League thus far in this series with some of the maps we have.
And if you're looking for Sombra play, RCK is your man if we get to see that. And Boston actually have the best win rate in teamfights after using Sombra's EMP. They're a very good team at capitalizing on the fact that their opponent's abilities are disabled. Here's our first point on Liang Tower. This is Night Market. Both teams will be fighting for supremacy of this small space here. And the first team to get 100% will win the round. There are maximum of 3 rounds inside this one map. We'll head to a different stage. And we'll see if the team that drops map 1 can hang in there. But we're now out of the gates here. It is the Vancouver Titans, Matt, and no surprise to see this classic composition.
Reinhardt, triple tank, triple support for the Titans. And for the Boston Uprising, they're going to come out with a damage dealer heavy set. So this is something we've seen teams use against Vancouver and have success. They run the heavy damage dealers. They're able to make things happen. Color Hex on the Widowmaker, RCK playing Sombra, and Blase playing Pharah. So you have 3 damage dealers. Fusion's going to play Wrecking Ball, the solo tank here. And then you're going to have Aim God and Kelix rounding things out with the support. So this should be Boston able to control the point first. It looks like the only change you have coming through for Vancouver is Twilight will be playing Moira here.
And you can see before the Uprising were able to capture the point, the Vancouver Titans still elect to try and contest it, prevent them from getting an early lead in percentage. Blase, very important position from him, tries to go for the knockoff, the concussive blast, almost sends Bumper over the edge, but Fusions gets the job done when he rolls in. There is a lot of displacement tools available on this Boston Uprising team. Both Fusions and Blase very good at knocking people around. And the barrage to seal the deal on So Min Soo will mean that the Uprising are in position to capture this point to begin.
You know, I mean, when we saw the Houston Outlaws play against the Vancouver Titans, the Outlaws had really good success running some damage dealers on Control. After that, you know, some of the maps, the way it goes, you're not able to do this all the time, but Control is one of the game modes you can definitely throw some more damage dealers in the mix. They're going to be walking into the EMP of RCK here, so everybody getting hit by it there. Bumper avoiding it, but still, you see Death just coming for the rest of the Titans.
And there it is, straight away, a good example of how Boston are very good at using EMP gainfully. Now, it is a very powerful and fight-changing ultimate, but there are some teams in the league whose fight win rate actually drops after they use it, so you still need to be able to work around that ability and know when to apply pressure. Boston now at 34% off the back of that.
And I think with the composition that Boston has, it's easy to apply that pressure, right? Blase just raining down rockets and Fusion with the pile driver. It seems like the Vancouver Titans, they want to take real estate on the point here and force some of these squishy members of Boston on in, but that's a big pick. Twilight's a lot of the healing there for the Titans.
That's Color Hex's 3rd pick off for this round. He's playing away from the rest of the Uprising and just trying to flank and get insta-kills here with the sniper. Finding that first kill was good. They brought Aim God back into the fight, but with Blase out of commission, they have no airborne damage. Looks like the Uprising don't feel like they have the resources to continue.
And now that the Vancouver Titans control the point, they probably want to push up, get right up in this choke point here. It's really the greatest spot they have to use the Graviton Surge, right? With all these players spread out, there's not really like a huge opportunity for one.
I feel like, Matt, this is when this composition for the Titans is at its strongest. When they control the point, they can also control the entry and exit ways into this area.
You know, Boston doesn't get like a crazy amount of percentage off that. I mean, 56%. I mean, you're going to see the Titans in one fight past that.
Took him a while to get the first capture. I think that was the issue. That was an EMP coming over the top. Bumper there was knocked to the ground. Blase, though, in a bit of trouble. He was getting the coalescence focused on him by Twilight, which has quite an exceedingly large amount of range. And even though he got the nano boost, Matt, he couldn't do enough damage to justify his role in that fight. And the Titans really don't have to spend too many ultimates to win a pretty comfortable fight. And like you said, Matt, now they're even on percentage with the Uprising.
And they still have this Graviton Surge. So now you see the Vancouver Titans pass Boston Uprising. It'll be Valkyrie to kick things off here. Just providing all the healing. That's going to be the grab. It's going to be a solo one there on the Fusion.
Yep, they can catch the Wrecking Ball out. It would be a great start. One of the most important initiating tools for the Boston Uprising. It's been taken off the table. Hex is in deep trouble here. There's not really much you can do against Bumper. As low on health as he was, he still had the durability to finish what he started. Now, at 79%, the Vancouver Titans are one fight away from victory.
And I think when you lose that first fight of your Boston, you could have considered switching to the Reinhardt 3-3. You would have had a little bit of advantage in terms of sustainability. You could have gotten them to invest some of their ultimates and came back, you know, in a fight like around this time with an ultimate advantage. But they decided to stay on the damage dealers.
They really have to make it work now. Fusions has taken a lot of damage. Adaptive shield, all he can really do is try and stall out the point, but Twilight body blocked him. Oh, it's a double from Blase. He comes in with the barrage, and that might be the turnaround. Bumper forced the Hex, and Fusions is now back in the fight thanks to the resurrect from Telex. That's a great result for Boston. I mean, not a moment too soon, if I'm honest with you, but we'll take that. Boston stay in the game. They used a lot of big ultimates to do it, but now they control.
I mean, so you will get a nano boost here for Boston coming up soon, and then you're going to have the minefield, which is how effective can you be with this minefield? Do you see Fusions just rolling a choke? Do you use it to just kind of drop it on the point? Looks like, you know, he's just kind of third-personing a wall here. You're going to see how the Titans want to attack. The Titans want to get on the point.
Johnny straight there. Immediately get rid of Fusions there as well. He had nowhere to go. Johnny going for the flank angle, using D.Va's mobility to outposition his opposition. Hex though found a key pick on Slime from afar, so the sniper's still paying off for the Boston Uprising, but more needs to be done. It's a 5v5, but the Titans have managed to flip the point back in their favor, and now, with that positional advantage, Matt, they've leveraged it into 2 kills. Blase and Telex both going down. RCK had to go for an EMP, but there's no one to really follow up on the fact that the Titans couldn't use their abilities. Fusion drops down straight into a Graviton Surge, and he will be held in place, and there it is. Round 1 goes to the Vancouver Titans. They stay with a heavy tank and support composition, and eventually the Uprising, they just run out of juice.
Well, I think the play there is actually from Hacksaw. So in the fight before the final one, we saw on Fusion's POV, he had the minefield, knew where Vancouver was coming there, rotating onto the point. Hacksaw gets a stun on the Fusions, and they burn him down so quick before he could use the minefield in that small doorway choke point. If you get the minefield off there, you think you get a ton of value. Towards the end, you don't have anybody to contest the point there. You allow Vancouver to flip it, and then it's their game from that point on.
And our second round of map number 1 will be Control Center. So we will still see a Farah here by the looks of things. Hex going to be playing that hero. Blase, though, playing Junkrat. So a lot of long-range, explosive damage. Boston definitely want to do a lot of their fighting from afar. And that'll definitely be good for them if they can control this point. Now, if not, it'll be tough to get back in these rather fragile heroes.
And with the Reinhardt version of the 3-3, you really want to pick a target and run them down, right? But with Boston, everybody can spread out. There's a lot of mobility on these characters. It's not really easy to exactly, you know, pick a player and just run them down. So we'll see what they decide to do.
RCK was just looking to harass there, use the corner of that doorway to break line of sight and not get picked up. But look at that, Chanu just goes to the high ground and pretty much goes 1v3, gets rid of Blase, bursts him down with a micro rocket. That D.Va definitely has some strong anti-personnel abilities if required. And then Hex, as low as he was, with aim got out of the picture, can't be in this fight. He'll need to go back and get a health pack, but I think he's just going to reset. So Boston take control first, Matt, but Vancouver come back in and claim the point just as it was unlocked.
Because Vancouver, they have the Ana in play here. You don't really need the Discords. I mean, you're just trying to like, oh, everybody has like such squishy HP pools for the Boston Uprising, so the Discord would be nice, get a little bit extra damage, but you don't exactly need it. I think you want the healing that Ana provides here. Blase switch things over to Doomfist. We've seen an uptick in Doomfist play the last like 2 or 3 days as you see coming in, landing the combos, not able to finish Bumper off just yet though.
Yeah, Blase, there were a lot of disruption being generated by his presence. Straight away turns around, seismic slam, knocks Slime up into the air, but he gets nano boosted here. Lucio actually starting to gain a bit of a deadly edge, but it's more the damage mitigation that's so important. Now it's going to be hard for him to get picked off, and Vancouver Use an ultimate there from Twilight that's normally dedicated towards damage dealers or tanks, but hey, it keeps him at full strength.
I mean, look, you keep Slime alive. He's able to build more towards a sound barrier, which is your only real sustain ultimate. As you do see the Boston Uprising, they have some ultimates here. They have the Meteor Strike, Rocket Barrage, Valkyrie. So you're going to get Minefield as well. How do they use some of these ultimates? Not really ones you can combo together.
No, they don't. Some of them actually are anti-combos, but sometimes, man, all you need is a good barrage. Colorhex makes it rain. Jardy and Haxel already have fallen by the wayside, and now it's just a matter of dealing with Bumper and then recapturing the point. Slime will move up to try and stall things out a little longer because every point of percentage helps, but Boston put him to bed pretty quickly as well.
Boston doesn't have a comp where they can move up into the choke, so Vancouver is going to be able to move through this initial choke point here and make a play for the point. It's just you're going to walk in, Minefield here. Aim God does have Valkyrie. They're running Mercy Lucio. Little throwback, as we don't see that often anymore.
That's a classic combo. Graviton Surge really is the name of this fight map, but Sominsu, I mean, how easy is it going to be for him to catch everyone in his grab? He'll have to be satisfied with getting maybe fusions or someone else. But in the meantime, he's taking a ton of damage from the sky. Colorhex trying to punish him now. There it is. The Graviton actually catches 3. Sound Barrier came out, but it's not going to be enough to stave off the damage from Vancouver. They are front-loading it into the face of the Uprising. But Blaze's there. Quick little punch into the wall. Deals with Haxel quickly enough, but Blaze needs teammates to take eyes off him. And there aren't many of those left.
It was a nice boot by Kellex. When Bumper actually hits the Shatter, he's going to try and follow up. And it's a boot from Kellex that prevents him from doing so. That forces them to invest the Graviton Surge. They also use the Self-Destruct there to come up with a combo. No shielding for Boston Uprising, so not able to survive that. Boston does have the EMP Rocket Barrage, though, so if you connect with the EMP on John, you can't use the Defense Matrix. Eat it all up.
So far, the Guangzhou Charge and the Uprising have been two proponents of using Doomfist. And it's working if Blaze can actually get himself those instant kills. It's a double-edged sword. Oh, that was clever. I saw what RCK tried to do. Tried to hack his opponent in Slime before he could use that sound barrier. He tried the same yesterday or previously in their match. Didn't quite work out. That was Bedosian getting the better of him from the London Spitfire. But as this fight goes through, it's Slime's walked headfirst into a mine, but Boston are sort of low on players here. Blaze repositioned himself to the upper ring of the room with the Meteor Strike, but where does he go? Nowhere. Back to spawn. In fact, the Sominsu burns him down. The second he tries to step out, there's that Graviton Surge. And again, with his composition, Vancouver are happy just catching fusions inside of that. And there's not much he could do to mitigate any of that damage. All things said, pretty clean from the Vancouver Titans here. They don't shift off their composition. They kick the 3-3 and it pays off. Map 1 for Vancouver.
They just roll out what they're really good at, and they're able to not really have to adjust anything to deal with the damage dealers that the Boston Uprising are coming out with. Boston threw a lot of different looks at Vancouver. Nothing shocks Vancouver anymore, though, as they take map number 1. We'll be back with map number 2 right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Justice reigns.
So the meta is a very specific type of like style that's been developed in the game based off of balance patches, where you'll have like 2 or 3 comps and then you'll swap to each one to like counter the other comps.
There's several ways to describe it, I guess. It's like in a way, it's like the flavor of the month in a way. All the pros think this is the best. Like this is what the norm is, the standard, right? As a gamer, these kind of gamer terms kind of slip out. So whenever something's like in fad, I will accidentally say, oh yeah, these shoes are in meta right now.
Well, I hope that clears things up a little bit more. Meta is definitely a term that we lean on quite heavily. However, both these two teams are playing a very different style or very different compositions. You can see, though, why that triple tank, triple support composition was so widely consistent meta in stage 1 and still very prevalent here in stage 2.
And I think what's interesting is that the Vancouver Titans don't have to make any adjustments for their comp to make it work against Boston. Usually when a team comes out with more damage dealers, you would swap the Reinhardt out for a Winston. Winston a little bit better at like just jumping onto targets quickly, being able to just kind of harass them, throughout the game. The Reinhardt doesn't have that, closing the gap ability. I mean, you have the charge, but that's just kind of a death sentence going into the other squad. I think the first map is more telling to how strong Vancouver is at the Reinhardt comp as opposed to the damage dealers for the side of Boston.
And you can see they're just hanging out. They're taking it pretty easy here at Vancouver. This has kind of been the story of their Overwatch League season so far. This is their debut season, but you wouldn't know it if you watched them play. They have a very good understanding of the best way to be playing the game right now.
You know what? You can laugh and be loose on stage if you know how good you are and you know how good your practice is. Paris will come up next here as you could see some more damage dealers from the Boston Uprising again. On offense, we see various different looks. Defense, we do see some Risa, Bastion, bunker comp setups. Although over the last few games, we've seen more Winston 3-3 on defense. It just provides you a little bit of a better opportunity to switch going into point B.
Bumper has the highest amount of teamfight damage as Reinhardt in teamfights right now. So, yeah, obviously that's pretty important. Here's point A. This is where our attacking Boston team are going to try and hit, and then after that, they make their way through on towards point B. Now, this is tough for attackers because it is so open and you take a lot of damage even just trying to get there. You'll be fighting around a statue for control of B.
So the Titans really have 2 options on defense. They can run something like a bunker setup with the Bastion, the Batiste, like I was talking about, or they can run this, the Winston version of the 3-3. You run this because this allows you, let's say if Boston were to take the first point, you don't have to change everything in your composition. You can hold on to some of your ultimates. It helps you not get snowballed, where the Boston Uprising can just run straight in to the second point. Boston comes out with the damage dealer heavy look again here, as Blase will play the Pharah. You got the Pharah, Widowmaker, Sombra combination.
So this is Boston's take. This is how they think they're going to be able to break down what they know will be a tank support heavy composition from Vancouver.
So what Vancouver can do, well, what Boston wants to do, let's start there, is they want to just keep touching the point with like Fusions or RCK and force them back. Fusions actually gets slept here behind enemy lines, so we'll see if he's able to make it out alive. He actually gets antied, no, he's going to die. So you do have Fusions. He was trying to get a touch on the point. Nice sleep there that comes out of Twilight. The issue is what the Vancouver Titans will respond with is Janu will go back, touch the point, contest it as Diva, and then you're going to have Bumper in the choke just trying to take out some of these stragglers. Bumper goes way too far into the choke, though, and falls there at the hands of Angod.
The difficulty for the Titans is, Matt, they were trying to cover both bases. They did have RCK tickling the point, bringing them back, and also to worry about Bumper pushing very deep. It's possible, Matt, he just got out of line of sight for the rest of his healers, or Vancouver weren't able to keep him alive. That is going to hurt the Titans, though. Losing their main initiation now, they need to sort of shore up the gaps with the rest of their tank line. Slime doesn't really want to peek out the door too far, but Solmitsu gets a nano boost, so you know he's the one that the Titans are intending to be dealing most of the damage now in this fight. Fusions was put to sleep. Solmitsu realized that a little bit too late and actually woke him back up immediately, but he's dealing a lot of damage on that Zarya. He's very well charged, and the Boston Uprising gets split very heavily, but that maybe is just what they wanted. Slime and Bumper have gone down. Colorhex found the pick on that enemy Lucio. And now Blase at cruising altitude, just waiting for someone to peek their head out of one of these doors.
Solmitsu should consider resetting here. Still in the house, but I guess him and Janu still want to make a play out of this. Twilight's still here, Hacksaw coming back. If Vancouver's able to clutch this out, that's unreal. That would be. This should be a Boston Uprising point 8 take. But
Graviton, RCK got taken down. Oh no! He went for the EMP as well. It looks like he just didn't get it off at all. Might have been a panic move from him. He's brought back into the fight with 0 ult percentage. Blase able to save the day though with that little big barrage coming down. Well, Simon Sue might be turning this around. Johnny getting that self-destruct here. It is really just Kellex right now, and that has gone all kinds of wrong for the Uprising. They spent so much, and they still didn't get the point. 3 kills for Blase, and still not enough.
And every other team in the league at that point probably gives that up. They just have Somonsu and Janu there. You had Twilight coming back into the action, but both of those players just juggle the points so well that they're able to keep it going. Bumper's gonna get the effects of the Nano Boost, has Primal Rage as well to use here, so gonna jump right on Color Hex. You lose that one-shot ability, now gonna Primal Rage.
Yeah, Bumper, oh, AimGod is very dead. This guy's out there juggling. Circle to see you later, nerds.
Dude, you just love to watch Bumper. Like, you know, like when you watch him play, he has so much fun. Like, you know, sometimes you see him on the Hanzo. They say it's real. But, you know, you see when he plays Winston there, you know, the little salute, everybody up in the sky has to fall back.
I mean, Matt, is this where the wheels fall off the bus for Boston? They spent that huge wave of ultimates. They don't really have any key ones here.
Yeah, I mean, you only had 30 seconds left. Look how close they were, 98%.
Well, Bumper in, forces Translate out of RCK, who needs to get an EMP in this fight. Boston looking for answers. They need to be able to set up Blase to have a solid barrage, and an EMP would be a good way to do that. Here they come, though. Last fight. Boston pretty measured about it. They know they have 15 seconds left, and they don't want to get ahead of themselves here. It's a great way to get a key player picked off. RCK, here's the EMP, lands on towards Bumper and Somonsu. Is this where Blase goes aggressive? But Janu is still there. He was hacked, yes, but Blase was still worried he could shut down the barrage. Here's the attempt, a Hail Mary. He gets rid of Somonsu. Decent on towards Janu here, but Color Hex has gone down to the back line, and RCK also falls. Bumper very low. He's in deep trouble on the point. Slime commits himself, gets taken down by a mine. He tried to boot Kellex off the edge, but he just flew back and returned to the fight. The Boston Uprising, they've weathered the storm, and they've made their way onto A.
And this is see, now you have to see Boston. They're going to change up a bunch of their composition to try and make it work here. For point B, this is the strength of Vancouver not coming out with a, you know, Bastion setup or the Bastion Batista Risa. They don't have to change anything, so they still hold on to their ultimate percentage. Fusions, Color Hacks, still go at Blase, Aim. I mean, they all change. So you have to see all of them. You know, it's going to take 2 bites to probably get some ultimate RCK here.
He's going to get shield bashed straight away. Oh, he still got out. Nice little translocate there.
But this is 2 fights where Boston's not going to have ultimates. And it's going to, you know, dwindle the clock down.
And look, in lieu of having ultimates, teams just try and sometimes find a pick, like, you know, get a player advantage early in the fight. But Boston's team composition is not really designed to do that. It's designed to team fight in a 6v6. And that requires you generally to have ultimates to play with to give you a good chance of winning in the fight. So Boston's options are kind of limited here, Matt. We'll see him try and maneuver into a decent position, but Bumper, he's straight into the back line here, and this is going to make Boston scurry to respond.
I mean, well, what do? He's going to Primal Rage here if he gets in trouble, but they know they have Fusions dead to rights here. Now he's going to Primal.
Oh, no!
So if you're the Vancouver Titans, you don't invest anything else after this, right? You can get someone too charged up. The bubble's landing down. AimGod, you're not in a good spot here, buddy.
You don't want to be there!
Yeah, he will fall. So they did invest Rally and the Primal Rage into that fight. You were able to build up a Transcendence and DMP for the Boston Uprising, but here's the thing. So Bumper now will switch over to Reinhardt. You get the mirror matchup here. You're going to have the Nano Boost here. You can send it onto the Reinhardt. You can build up the Shadow rather quickly as well. Don't be surprised if Bumper catches up to Fusions in terms of Earth Shatter.
Again, if he gets given a Nano Boost, he can play more aggressively because he's taking less damage. He's also dealing more damage, which is going to in turn charge up that ultimate that much faster. Now, RCK. All right, pops by Twilight. He wasn't revealed. He would have been if he'd stayed around too. Oh, nice! Janu spots him out there, just spraying randomly where he thinks RCK might be, takes him out of his cloaking mode and reveals him.
I mean, Diva's great at that, right? Doesn't have to reload, can just kind of spam bullets everywhere. Who does RCK want to connect here with? The EMP. That's going to be the grab from Somonsu, so this will be a follow-up of a self-destruct. Don't think you invest anything here if you're the Boston Uprising.
Oh, it's so big for the Titans. They get AimGod's Transcendence, which is so big. And even though there was a lot of healing available for Boston, there was burst damage for the Titans. They just blew straight over the top of the healing that Zenyatta was giving. Janu's bomb getting one was very important as well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a Diva for the Boston Uprising to potentially eat that Graviton Surge. So as soon as Somonsu sees some people, there's no fear, right? You can just chuck it on in there. You know you're going to get value out of it. Summon to Janu, Bumper, Slime with the boots. Hacksaw as well, so good at setting up these combos.
Janu, by the way, dies the least of any D.Va player in the Overwatch League. By a decent margin. Bumper trying to go for the Earth Shatter there, but didn't find anyone, but hey, they're all caught up. Boston, no room to go, and Slime just smashing the speed boost, making sure the Titans can catch up to the Uprising. Now, in that fight, they do spend a little bit, Matt, and I think this next window is probably the one that's a little bit frightening for them. Boston, as you can see, have a lot of those tick marks, a lot of those ultimates.
But where do you... So you're going to have to use the EMP to set things up. Then you're going to use the grab. You need to connect with Slime. If you do not hit Slime, they'll sound barrier out of it. You don't have a big combo with like a self-destruct, start blowing people up. You'll be able to live through this if you're Vancouver, and then you'll have the combo there. Janu with the self-destruct and Summon with that grab. So you need to make sure you connect with Slime with this EMP.
See, Janu's just spamming, trying to see if he can reveal RCK. He doesn't know.
Didn't get
the
him.
3-man EMP doesn't get Slime, and there's a sound barrier buffer being kept alive, but only just Fusions eventually is able to put him down. Hacksaw caught inside a Graviton Surge, and Fusions deals with him as well as a charge through Earthshatter. Hitting Slime, at least. He wasn't able to get away from that one, and now the Vancouver Titans have been cut down to size. It's just So Min-Soo. Oh, he'd love to try and stay alive and use some of that charge. Bumper may not get to the point in time, and he doesn't. In the final fight, the final chance, the Boston Uprising managed to finish the map. It's unlikely that they're going to have much of a time bank left after that foray, but they'll be happy enough with getting 2 points out of a possible 2. 0 time left in the bank, though, and the Titans now are looking to try and do it a bit faster on the attacking side. Well, the Boston Uprising had a crack at the attacking side on Parison. The results were decent. They finished the map. That's at this level, that's pretty solid. The Titans now just have to beat that time. This is your boy Color Hex, our sole New Zealand representative here in the Overwatch League, and of course I feel some sort of kinship. Not too much, of course. You know, Aussies and Kiwis aren't that close, but close enough to want to see him succeed.
Close in proximity.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could say that. He doesn't agree with me. Okay, shaking the head. His Widowmaker looked really good on map number 1. We're starting, excuse me, starting to see him play a bit more Zarya over on this particular map on that second stage. You'd hit the Graviton to help them get across the line.
Still opportunity for Vancouver to make some changes. You can see coming up next, though, on Disney, the Outlaws versus the Dragons. We had the opportunity to cast Dragons the other day.
The battle of the big fan bases. That one is going to be great. So it's on Twitch. It's going to be on ESPN app and in Disney XD. I mean, if you're already on one of those, then you don't have to go anywhere.
Then just stay. Yeah, I mean, that would be phenomenal.
That game is always high.
Bunker composition here from the Boston Uprising on defense. Kellex with the Immortality build, playing the Batiste, really good at keeping the Bastion alive. Blase with all that damage, you can't really dive the Bastion. So we're gonna see something different here from the Titans, most likely. So they'll go out. They'll decide what they want to do. They want to run Reinhardt into this. That's why I think Bumper, you're going to go translocate back. See what tank they decide. Okay, so they're going to run Reinhardt into this, which...
That seems a little bit... Okay, right.
They don't want to run a traditional Reinhardt into this. So.
Okay, so switching to the Symmetra. Hacksaw is going to be able to teleport his team across the map in a pinch here. Now, I want to see how they use this. They're going to have to be very quick.
Ground here.
Oh my gosh. Look at them just using the little gap. Oh,
Yeah.
Bumper sleeping on the job.
Use this gap to hit the corner.
They have to go quick. They have to go
Jump
right
threat,
now.
though, could be deadly.
Oh, this is about to get messy. Straight onto the point, immediately trying to deal with the Bastion. Get up in his face, but the Immortality Field was already taken down. Boston dealing now with this push from the Titans. Bumper has gone down. It was the Bastion of Colourhex to remove him, and I think it was a very cute play. You do love to see it. It doesn't work just yet. And now Seoul Min Soo and Ko are taking an absolute beating as they try and go to the left.
I actually think if they were not running the Junkrat, you can make that work. It's just that the burst damage combination of Bastion plus Junkrat is just so much to get through. Ant Matrix available here for Slime. You see players back up for Boston. Yeah, they use
There is an angry death robot that is just burning you to pieces. Okay, never mind. Oh, he gets these Calex has actually gone down here, but Colourhex should have the damage. Oh! Out of nowhere! He's from the top rope. Bumper comes in, hammer swinging. Blase saving the day, getting that double, getting rid of both supports of Twilight and Slime. That would have been such a Bumper moment.
Where was Bumper? Was he just like hiding in the corner waiting for the Bastion to come around?
He was hiding in the Shadow Realm until he heard a Bastion needed to be charged.
All right, so now they go. Now they're going to go with a more traditional version of the triple tank, triple support. They're going to run the Ana for the biotic grenade. This will be the Riptire from Blase. So,
All right.
see if he can get it over the roof of one of these buildings.
Someone just yelled it's 4 a.m. in the crowd. Go on. It's not. Nope. That's next game, guys.
John Hugo back to the spawn here. Swap off D.Va, swap on back, get a new mechas. This is just buying more time for Boston. This is why you see teams run the bunker on defense. It's so effective. The issue that when it gets broken, you're going to have to switch, potentially all 6 of your players, reset ultimates on everybody.
Right, it's like feast or famine, right? You either hold and you just crush the attackers, or you get rolled on point
It's also feast or famine for the offense, because if you can't break it with the setup that Vancouver's running, you end up losing map. If you do break it, you know they have to switch, you have the ultimates, you can take point B really quick too.
Oh, it's supercharger time. Fusion puts down the magic bongo. Seoul Min Soo just gets cracked over on that left-hand side, and Janu de-suited now. Another good-looking fight for the Boston Uprising, and this is starting to turn into a potentially winning map for them now. Supercharger is down. Oh, Huxel. If anyone finds any part of Huxel remaining, let me know. That was nasty. And now the Titans have to back away. Seoul Min Soo forced to use his bubble and on one of his teammates just to get away.
So that you will have Graviton Surge. Bumper switches to Winston, so you think you need the Winston to access the high ground. Twilight will go Zen here. I don't know if you're having a great opportunity. How do you get Zen through the choke without a shield? Maybe you leave him in the choke here.
We're about to find out. I think Aimgot tried to go for a biotic grenade, but was a little bit too late on that one. Here it comes, take mode configuration from Colourhex, so he is doing maximum damage, and he's looking to finish off Seoul Min Soo. What a good first target that would be. Bumper soon falling after. Johnny's trying to get away. He almost gets clipped out of his mech. And now there's 20 seconds left for Vancouver Titans. The map hangs in the balance. Boston looking to even things up here. And again, they're playing the bunker comp. Vancouver, maybe their approach is a little bit old-fashioned, a little bit antiquated. Antiquated, that's the word. Here we go, the rally time. Vancouver have to do it now. Blase, oh, Huxel still shields off the Riptire, but Bumper's taking a lot of damage due to his 1v1 on the point with RCK. Slime's gonna help him out a bit now. Bumper thought about, I think, jumping to the other side to try and disrupt the main body of the Boston Uprising, but it was too low. Here comes a self-destruct, looking for the hold in one, nothing doing though. And now Janu de-suited once more. Not a great sign for Vancouver with Bumper. Very close to getting blown up there. Twilight's had to go with the Transcendence to keep him alive, and RCK has to play this perfectly. He needs to stay alive in his mech and play it safe, but he got hacked, forced back around a corner. Now though, it's time for a nano boost. He's going to get a bit more aggressive, looking for Twilight. Twilight getting the defense matrix from Janu to keep him alive. Great peel coming from the Titans, but it looks like it might not be enough. Seoul Min Soo now has been taken down by Colourhex, and there's more to come from the tank mode Bastion. RCK though, going down off the edge by the looks of things. Colourhex cheeky, tries to set up in the corner inside sentry mode, but he's going to be spotted out, taken down, and there it is. Huxel gets rid of him. It's huge. The Vancouver Titans just sneak across the line there in a fight that did not start well for them, but this is just what the Titans do.
And that looked bad there for Vancouver for a little bit. They just needed RCK to stay alive a bit longer. That's why they gave him the nano boost. He was just trying to live on the point, but now Seoul Min Soo with an EMP. Can you spiral this if you're the Titans?
Riptire. Will this be the pressure valve that the Uprising need? They need a couple moments to collect themselves, but Blase, there's nowhere to go. Jody chases down the Riptire and removes it. That could have been a team fight winner here for the Uprising, but now they have the one taken off the table as well. Fusion's hacked. RCK also has his abilities taken away. Color Hex is forced to recall before Solminsu can hack him as well, and everybody is being disabled here. The Vancouver Titans just rolling through. This is sheer force of momentum, force of nature. The Vancouver Titans, they finish Paris with time on the board, and they'll be happy about that one. There is still, of course, more to be played, as they have a time bank and Boston do not, but they are looking good to take this map away. We'll be back in a moment with our extra innings. Just a couple of moments to catch your breath and we're back into it here. Paris, well, it's pretty much over here. There's not a whole lot Boston can do except hold the Titans off for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. All the Titans need is one tick on this point A right here, which is 33%. And we saw Boston's composition, the same one here. Focused around the backstint, it was very good. The Titans need to break this much quicker now if they want to take the map away. Otherwise, it'll be a draw.
I mean, it was a last-ditch kind of desperation switches that came through for Vancouver that really helped them be able to break it. So let's see if this is what they run with. You'd have Bumper playing the main tank here, so you're going to run 2-2-2. Hacksaw on Genji, it's always awesome. He's so much to do here. Playing Sombra, so you have Sombra to be able to take some of these abilities offline. And then the really strong dive potential of Wrecking Ball, Genji, D.Va.
Hacksaw will just poke from medium to long range with Shuriken early on. Just pressuring down, wanting to build up that Dragon Blade. Once he has that, that's when stuff starts to get fun for him. Right now, he's just trying to play safe, stay alive, or jump on a target that is playing on their own. You see, Vancouver tried to jump on RCK, thought maybe
get to the point,
separate himself, but okay, so Boston now need to reset and set up to deal with the pressure on point A now that Vancouver have wrapped around here.
And Color Hex is sitting up on the bridge here, but he can't get any line of sight because there's the pillars on the point. Now they just call him out. They dive him real quick.
Hacksaw used cut. It was super effective. And now he has a Dragon Blade. It's about to get even worse for the Boston Uprising. It's time. And there it is. RCK just crumples under the blow. Blase not far behind. And Hacksaw's run out of targets, but it doesn't matter. The Sushi Chef lives on. And the Vancouver Titans take Paris away. Their attack looked good once they broke down the bunker composition. They got to have a little bit of fun playing Overwatch. And we love a Hacksaw Genji to finish off the match. Halftime's coming up, much to talk about. We'll see you on the other side of that.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right. record of 15 straight match wins. So far, they're off to a pretty good start. The current score, 2-0, as we enter halftime. Welcome into the Blizz Arena. We've got an awesome crowd, and I've got awesome co-hosts. You know them, you love them. It's Zoe, it's Hex. And we've got the #1 team in the league going up against the Boston Uprising, who has retooled their roster since the start of the season. But I have to ask, so far in this game, 2 very close matches. So is Vancouver taking it easy on Boston? Are they playing with their food? Or is Boston really giving them trouble today?
No, I honestly think this is Boston giving them trouble. They came in with a clear game plan and they're executing it really well. And I do think we have a lot of great individual performances from that Boston lineup.
They're a really well-coached team, and they know that they're not going to beat Vancouver in 3-3. So you're just not going to do it, so they're trying different things. They have the versatility to run a lot of different heroes. So I think it's more Boston playing unexpected and playing well-coached Overwatch.
A lot of damage dealers today, Zoe.
Yeah, and we're seeing them on their signature heroes. Everyone is excited to see Color Hex, not just on Widowmaker, also on that Pharah, which he played later on. Blase did great on Pharah, but also switched onto Doomfist, a hero he's very well known for. I'm not entirely sold on fusions on Hammond just yet. We did see him playing it about an hour or something this stage, but it still looked rough around the edges.
Hacksaw made it really tough on that Brigida, to be fair. There was a lot of times he should have like a 5-man knockoff, but he's getting stunned. Overall, though, one tank for Boston, a new look.
It works out. I mean, you have to run the 1 tank if you want to do this DPS. You have the Mercy there as well to keep everyone alive. But if the Mercy gets distracted and has to save a Pharah, then the hamster is alone on the ground. So it's really difficult to play good Mercy in this comp.
Now, overall, it wasn't the most exciting game, but it definitely had some of the most exciting moments that we've seen in the Overwatch League. When we went to Paris, that point A, both teams' defense is so clutch up until the final moments when you saw it was Titans just being able to roll to the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Titans got point A in OT there, and rightfully so. I honestly thought Boston is going to hold it, but Vancouver Titans took a fight which no other team in their right mind would actually take. They were down 3 people. It was only Bumper and Somin Su on the point in the very end, and somehow Vancouver Titans decided, you know what? No, we're just going to go for it, and they managed it. They sniped Blase out of the air and somehow managed to clutch it until Twilight came back onto the point. That was actually insane from Vancouver Titans.
You want to learn how to play defense, go and watch that game. But if you don't have the mechanical skill, you'll end up like me, losing the match. All right, but we got to talk big picture here because Vancouver, they're going for the record. Boston is your record holder with 15 match wins in a row. So let's take a look at our leaderboard at where we stand. Valiant back at stage 4, they had 9. Excelsior, stage 2 and 3, an 11-match streak. They also had a 14-match streak, tying the Titans' current record of 14. But at the #1 spot, it's Boston with 15 wins. The Titans get a chance to join them today. Hex, do they do it? They need just one more map in the second half.
It would be poetic, but these teams did match up earlier this year on Kings Row, which is our map, and we're going to have an Insights powered by Intel moment here because Boston has not been playing the 3-3, but they have to play it in Kings in a lot of these situations. And what happened last time, and this is the Stage 1 playoffs, as you see at the clock right now, 5 minutes left, and they're already 2-point B. They took the first point in about 40 seconds, and that put Boston on the back foot. Boston played so passively. They didn't even take a fight up to this point. They tried to hold choke. They got knocked out of there. They don't even have ultimates up online at this point. So, Boston, this is really the first fight they take, and we're already at the second choke in the Streets phase. The ults aren't online. They get them, they slam them down, but then with the sound barrier, it's not enough to help. The Vancouver Titans continue to roll through here. First fight of this map, you see 444 here. Here's what Bumper dislikes to do very much. Yeah, good job, Chris. Excellent.
Thanks,
flex
Bumper.
right there.
I got you, buddy.
So that's one fight. This is the second fight of this entire map. It is for all the marbles here. Vancouver continues to press their advantage. They end up cleaning it up, and Boston played a very passive 3-3, which you can't play against the Vancouver Titans. If they are forced to play 3-3, I want Boston to play more aggressively in that 3-3, or just keep running DPS. But it's Kings. Kings has always been a very good tank-heavy map.
Was that a good Insights powered by Intel? Give it up for Hexagrams, killing it here with the illustration. I love it, Hex, our guest analyst for the day. So far, it's all Vancouver. They have a chance to tie Boston's record, and if it's Kings Row played that way, I think they're going to do it. Do they do it? Are we going to see more DPS, or do you expect the triple-triple from Boston?
Vancouver's a really good team. That's my answer.
So is the record being tied today?
You know what? I do think Boston has to bring the aggression to Vancouver Titans. If that is with a weird kind of composition, which includes more DPS heroes, I think they should give it a try. So far, 3-3 has not been working against Vancouver, so what do they have to lose?
It's just the first match of 4 today, and it's coming your way. Second half continues after this.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Well, the Boston Uprising knew this would be a tough one, going up against the Vancouver Titans after having done so fairly recently to very limited success. However, I didn't think they'd expect Vancouver to sort of wave a potential map win in front of their face and snatch it back.
They were so close there, Boston.
But then Vancouver finished with 4 minutes in their time.
Yeah.
So really were they that close? I mean, Vancouver almost faltered before taking point A was the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you almost had a full hold there on Paris from the Boston Uprising, but Vancouver, in the first overtime, they're able to take it. And then once they take it, they do have some ultimates to go right in to point B. So you can see where we stand in the series. The Vancouver Titans up 2-0. They win this map. They break, they tie the record of the Boston Uprising, right, for the longest win streak.
15 series in a row. So here's Kings Row. This is point A. Attackers, Boston will be first, need to get that point, and they need to roll a payload down here. That's point B, just outside of this foundry. Looking rather grungy. If it was Germany, they'd be having parties in there. And point C now at the end of the map. That's sort of where you finish up. Now, Matt, this could be scary for Boston because this is kind of where Vancouver's playstyle looks the best, right? On a map like Kings Row.
Vancouver undefeated on Kings Row. Boston Uprising has not won Kings Row. So,
that's not ideal.
Yeah, kind of lopsided results. Boston, it seems like in this match, has decided to just scrap the D.Va play out the window. They've run damage dealers, or they decided to run a Sombra version of GOATs with RCK picking up the Sombra. So good on the hero. You see, though, as soon as Vancouver knows they don't have the D.Va, they don't have that extra, they don't want to just sit around and wait to get hacked and have Boston be the initiator. They want to just go in and take the fight to the Uprising.
And why not? Vancouver Titans start off nicely with a little Bionic Grenade. Twilight knows that he can get all the Bionic Grenades he wants, Matt. Providing they're not shielded, there's no D.Va to eat them or eat these darts coming away from Twilight, so he can heal and do damage in equal parts quite comfortably. Blase, well, he knew Twilight would be peeking. Twilight attempting a sleep dart there just to disrupt Boston's setup. And look at this, you love being Anna in these moments. You can play so safely. You know that Boston only really have the Sombra that can harass you. And RCK's got other things to worry about, getting his EMP.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to farm the EMP if you're Boston, and then use the EMP and just push on through. You don't have like a transcendence here for the Titans. You just have the nano boost. RCK's got the EMP. He's going to use it. Connect with 3 players.
Twilight going for the nano boost here as well, but it might be enough to keep Bumper alive. It isn't, but it's a 1-for-1. Bumper was able to be kept up for long enough to at least get a trade. He got blasé before he went down. Here's a transcendence. There's no Bumper available to set up for anything there. Self-destruct isn't really going to be happening. Janu's still a ways away from that one now. Boston is set up on the point here. Color Hex has a grab. This should secure things. He'll fire this one off. Hope that Johnny won't need it, but he needs to get it up pretty quickly. He actually plays it defensively there, and it only catches Haxal, who gets given a bubble. He does go down, but the Vancouver Titans, Solomon Su has got a lot of charge, and surely they're going to contest this, but they're prevented from doing so. They get knocked back off the point by Blasé. Johnny was trying to stall things out. Vancouver probably a little bit miffed that they didn't have another chance to fight there.
I mean, look, you take down Haxal with that grab.
God.
Yeah, it's a little bit of spice there. You take down Haxal with a grab, then you know there's no burst healing opportunity, right, to get Bumper right up, back up to full HP. You do have Twilight playing Ana, so it does provide like more healing than, let's say, if they had a Zen. But still, you know, the bashes, the repair pack, the inspire, just the passive heal that comes out from Brigitte, you get all of that utility out of the way. You feel much better if you're the Uprising.
She's a paladin with a chip on her shoulder, is the best way to describe Brigitte. Also bigger pauldrons on her shoulder. So here's another EMP for RCK. That's what started off the fight last time. It should be the same here. 3 people caught by that one. A trade once more. Blasé for Bumper. That happened first in the previous fight. But once again, Boston continuing the trend of winning team fights after getting EMP out. If they win every fight in which they use EMP, they should be looking quite good on this map.
And Slime actually uses the sound barrier there, and you get nothing for it. Bumper's down by then. Solomon Su doesn't get hit by it. He's actually by the Mega Health Pack inside the house. But can you win some of these fights without the EMP? Those are the ones you really need to win. Haxal with a rally, Twilight with nano boost, so you have a lot of abilities to just beef up Bumper here.
Oh dear, RCK spotted out by Twilight. A lot of pressure being put on him. The darts flying thick and fast. Just throw a sleep dart in there, see if you can catch something. Twilight playing from a pretty safe spot in the back, so he can't really guarantee himself connections with a sleep dart, so you just fire it every time it comes off cooldown. Graviton Surge now for the Vancouver Titans. It's their time to shine. Gonna be a Transcendence used. Nice Bardic Grenade though. That secures the kill on Color Hex. Twilight throws that one in and cancels out the healing from Aim God.
Yeah, I mean, no chance of getting eaten by a D.Va. There's no D.Va for the Boston Uprising. Twilight, though, does a nice job positioning himself, just getting to the side, being able to get it around the shield, right? Able to land that Biotic Grenade. Takes away all healing effects. So, Bumper with a Shatter, Twilight with a Nano Boost. The only things you got available here for the Titans. If the Uprising, they can farm EMP here. I mean, you got some time. 2 minutes, 19 seconds. You can farm up a EMP grab, right? Swing into it, no shield available. Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult fight to lose.
It is 2 big ultimates that would be committed to win it, though. Another Twilight needs to get back to safety, but it's a huge Biotic Grenade. RCK caught by that one, but he'll have an EMP in a moment. He'll return to the fight if required. It's about keeping Bumper alive, and Solomon Su's going to be the one that gets the nano boost this time, and Bumper with the EMP coming in late. He didn't have a shield to protect himself with. Solomon Su, despite extra durability being provided by Twilight, is also going to fall, and there it is. Another EMP, another fight win. Boston need to keep it going.
It's just, it's surprising we haven't seen the Titans being able to counter it. So now Twilight switches off of Ana and goes to Zen. At least now you have a second sustainable ultimate in terms of supports, right? So you have Sound Barrier, and then now you'll have Transcendence once he's able to farm it up. So you can hide in some of those positions instead of just having the nano boost to just keep one player alive. You'll have that to keep everybody up. Bumper almost goes off the side there.
Yeah, he wanted to trade blows though, and he's going to back away as that Earth Shatter came through. Well predicted fusions now, just throwing that one into Bumper's shield. Reinhardt ultimate goes to waste. Bumper has one himself, but you can see it is charged up and ready to go, as is his shield. So he'll be using that to wait until fusion sort of makes himself vulnerable, or they just throw inside a Graviton Surge. Remember, Boston aren't playing a D.Va. This is easy mode for Solomon Su. He just throws out grab whenever he wants to use it. He'll catch people, but no kills came over for the Titans, and Bumper's gone down to Kellex.
Yeah, even though Bumper actually, gets the pin there on the fusions, they don't actually pick anybody up. So Vancouver Titans not able to pick up any kills off the back of that, as they ended up using their big combo. As now the Boston Uprising, you have this sound barrier, you're gonna have EMP again. Look to be able to, in a good position to complete the map.
Oh, RCK gets knocked down though. They're gonna be looking to try and pick him up, but Kellex drops in
nice
with
barrier.
a sound barrier just the right time. That will prevent RCK from being taken down as a result of being knocked to the ground. And there's the EMP, but Twilight got the Transcendence off anyway. And this time, the Vancouver Titans managed to win a fight, or look good at least in a fight where EMP is used.
I mean, that's your difference between having the Ana and the Zenyatta, right? That time they used the EMP, but what is there? It's the Transcendence, the follow-up. Is aim gone? Just hiding here? Just chilling out for a second?
I mean, if he can start from here, there's less chance of him being picked off as he approaches. If he gets discovered, though, well...
Yeah, I mean, they could just run him down with the speed boost, right? It kind of brings everybody out of position.
I mean, that emote that he's using does make sound, I think. I'm not sure if it makes sound to opponents, but either way, that might have been a little bit risky. Perhaps he was hoping to get picked off, but now he doesn't want to. Grabs for both sides here. Aim God with Transcendence. Twilight does not have it. Remember, the Titans don't have an Ana anymore, so they can't shut down Aim God's Transcendence healing when Simon's using the grab. So they need to get a finish on Color Hex now. And there it is. Transcendent is used in response. Still, Fusions goes down to the self-destruct, and that is not what Boston won. Burst damage beats healing every time.
And I think this is the issue when you run the Sombra, is that, you know, you use the EMP like 2 fights ago, and you don't get a fight win. Now you spend all this time farming up another EMP. You don't have like a big bang combo to work with, so you really need this EMP to be able to set up a fight win.
Boston Uprising needs to get an EMP on Twilight. If they don't shut down this Zen, he's got to keep the Titans alive and get another fight. Look how far away the Zen is. Here's EMP. Straight away, Twilight comes in, but it's not fast enough to save Bumper. Fusions, though, is traded out. Both Reinhardts are down. Haxal backing right on up here, and the Vancouver Titans seem to be quite content with a disengagement. Boston don't really have any tools now to start the fight off. They have no EMP, no Earth Shatter. They may have a Graviton, but they're going to have to charge it up, and Haxal is not too worried. Blase goes down there. Haxal also throwing the whip shot in to secure. Bumper's Earth Shatter is huge! It's Aim God and Fusions falling by the wayside, and the Vancouver Titans hold off the Uprising. They get smart against the EMP use that Boston were leaning on so heavily. Boston without a Diva made it quite hard for them to stop things like Ana and, of course, the Xayah from making a big impact. Vancouver Titans going to be going on the attack in just a moment. The effort they put in, Boston were unable to finish King's Row on the attacking side. The Vancouver Titans finally came up with the right answer to the Sombra that they were trying to fling at them every fight and held them off in that last stage. By the way, get your All-Star tickets, by the way, at axs.com/OWL to watch the best of us live at the Blizzard Arena. Remember, our All-Star game's going to be powered by Intel, so you know it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Check that one out. We're going to be letting our hair down a little bit after stage 2 and also having a bit of fun. And here's the final moments here. So this is Bumper pretty much sealing the dealio.
Yeah, I mean, he sees Fusion just trying to walk up to the cart and get the contest going. Opportunity to land a huge shatter with no response. Sombra on defense here for the Boston Uprising. The Vancouver Titans, no surprise, come out the Reinhardt 3-3. Twilight playing the Zen instead of Ana. The Zen provided a lot of good use there towards the end, getting those The Transcendence is just being able to stay out of line of sight of the Sombra. As you see, he goes for 2 acts there. Both of them get interrupted.
He got slide though. I think after that point, he was just looking for whoever he could get.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. Solminsu shielded himself and Bumper. Now, I don't know if that was to stop the hack or if it was just to get charged, but he kind of did both, Matt. That's the huge part about it. Fusion's down. That's not good for Boston. Their Huxal will fall. Yeah, you use Transcendence here to try and keep this point going because you don't want to give Vancouver a head start. Bumper. Oh, you better put your shield up. Telex gets past it though. Now Janu left on his own. Color Hex looking pretty healthy with a shield to boot. And there you go. Even without fusions, the Uprising managed to win that fight. You do not see that every day.
I mean, it was a really fast Transcendence there from AimGod. I mean, where he pumps his trans. Twilight's at like 70%, so AimGod doing a nice job farming up that trans at the beginning, using that ultimate to keep everybody alive. But now you come in with all the big ultimates on the board here. So Twilight will have his Transcendence. You're going to have EMP, Graviton Surge for the Boston Uprising. Oh, it's going to be the Gram that comes out first here, and they're going to walk right into the EMP.
Again, Matt, no Diva, so they can just sort of use that with impunity. Unfortunately, it doesn't really get Titans much value. Now, the Uprising, they step up to the plate, but this time there was a Transcendence there from Twilight. AimGod, though, has almost got his next one, Matt. He is well charged. Solminsu trades out for Color Hex. He has to give up his life. Hack on a Haxar. Not really where he wants to be right now, and looks like once more the Titans will be fended off.
I mean, for Vancouver, though, you do hold on to Shatter, Self-Destruct, any Sound Barrier, so you'll have those.
Is that
in the next
combo?
I mean, you can always throw the Self-Destruct. I mean, we used to see it, right? Throw the Self-Destruct up, force the Reinhardt to turn and protect, and then Shatter right away. So, see how they decide to engage this. So there's the... Oh, they're going to go with a pin instead, and the same effect.
Telex goes down, though. And that was Fusion's attempted to keep things alive there. It gets rid of Bumper, but now RCK is down. He had an EMP as well. It's unlikely he'll be able to return in time. Now with Vancouver already having 2 ticks of permanent progress on point A. And this should be enough to seal it up for them. So hey, I guess RCK didn't have a chance to use EMP. It's like enforced ult economy.
Yeah, and it was a really nice play. So they did exactly what I was talking about. Instead of using the Earth Shatter, though, Bumper just lands a pin straight on a Fusions, pushes him into the wall.
Was that Fusions charging Bumper or the other way around?
No, it was Bumper charging Fusions on the way in. They ended up over by that back wall.
No shielding available for them.
Yep. So nothing you can do there.
RCK has the EMP now, so I mean this is as good as time as any. Get Boston to push up, try and reclaim this choke. And Twilight still didn't get done. And he comes back in. Transcendence now. Can Bumper live through this? The answer is a big yes. Hey, he's crazy, man. Johnny, the only one really knocked to the ground in that one, so Fusions knew he had to go for an Earth Shatter, but this is where things start to get out of hand. Boston invest, they try and initiate their fight, it all blows up in their face.
No, RCK's getting big EMPs. You're just not getting like the one player you need. Happened the other day against the London Spitfire as well on this map. Yeah, he doesn't get Bedosian with the EMP, and then he tries to hack him on the way down, but the Zenyatta is just, they have such quick reaction times. As soon as that EMP goes up, they don't get hit. Hitting that ultimate right away.
We should think about that when we look at the amount of people that Sombra's hack, and bear in mind that you can get 5 people, but if you don't get the Zenyatta, you might just end up losing the fight entirely. Oh, Color Hex must not have had a personal bubble there. Solminsu was able to burn him down despite the fact that he was inside the Graviton Surge. But Blase once more has looked really good on Break this entire series. Haxal was someone that I had pegged for the #1 Brigitte in the league in terms of overall impact and statistics. But Blase's looked really good.
Yes, Twilight's going to get staggered out here rather late, so... Do lose that fight if you're Vancouver. You don't really build up towards any ultimates, so... You know, not a ton of time on the clock either for the Titans. Like, guys, point 1 kind of went on for what felt like forever. The fights just ended up lasting a while, so you don't have anything big like a grab here. Let's see if RCK can connect with Twilight with this EMP. You're going to need to be able to do that. Maybe they try and engage with Haxal with the rally as RCK up on the high ground here, gets pressured out by John.
Oh, I love that though. He had a translocator set up, so if he had to pull the plug, he'd still be able to drop a big ultimate in there. That's lovely.
I don't
like to see that.
I don't think Vancouver expected that.
No, we saw that on Icon Fault between Shanghai and Florida as well. I think it was a thing that dropped in. Now Sombras are trying to walk up and base some sort of reaction and then translocate to a predetermined location where they drop down and get a big EMP.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a Shatter from Fusions as well, so yeah, that's a big combo. Well, when they see that RCK translocates, they expected it not to be near the cart, a little bit further away. So as soon as he translocates, they push onto the cart right away. The translocator of RCK, though, placed on the payload, then able to land that big EMP.
Just on the rooftop above it,
Yeah.
actually. You can see Twilight is looking for RCK, specifically in that back line. RCK can't recloak himself until he hasn't taken damage for a short while. Tomitsu, there it is, the Graviton Surge. The time is running out for the Vancouver Titans. They need to come up with an answer pretty darn soon, but again, a Transcendence seems to have stymied them. Twilight has one too, though, and it's later in the fight. RCK, there was no point in him going for an EMP there because Twilight had already used Transcendence. He'll use it after the fact, though. But there's Sound Barrier. Sloan was waiting in reserve to shut down the EMP himself. So clever. Vancouver are prepared for every single eventuality. And now Color Hex going down. Vancouver, they get the job done, man. You can see that they were definitely prepared to win that fight.
Yeah, and Color Hex invests a grab there at the end, but you had no follow-up opportunity there. You'd have loved that grab. You could have pushed back into the choke now, but Vancouver gonna try and get aggressive. Blase using the rally, so you're gonna expect the Boston Uprising to retaliate a little bit.
Yeah, but Bumper got healed up. He got given a repair pack there. And Solomon Sue was throwing him as many bubbles as he could possibly go. Oh, Boston might have overextended into this one. It was like Solomon Sue was ready for them to step up, and he threw the grab straight out. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Boston. They tried to turn the tables, and Vancouver just broke it over their head.
You will get probably another fight here, though, so you have RCK who's actually hiding behind, so he'll be able to get a touch if need be. You'll have Transcendence here for Boston. That probably forces out an ultimate from the Titan.
Fusion's low, man. That was a big fire strike, and he got hit.
Oh,
with Bumper,
RCK!
trying to pick him off. No Sombra, no chance! And there it is, the Vancouver Titans will secure their 15-match winning streak, equaling Boston's record from Season 1 in a pretty comfortable series thus far. There is still one more map to be played, but for all intents and purposes, Vancouver have won the series. Maps are important, though. Boston need to get one in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Blizzard Arena, one and all. This match has been a story of two teams trying two rather different compositions. You know, we've seen Boston have really tried to make the Sombra work. They're getting rid of D.Va. They want RCK to play that pick, but the Vancouver Titans haven't really been too bothered about it. They know that they can play Ana, that they can throw Graviton Surges from extreme range and have no worry about it being cancelled or negated by Defense Matrix. So they've looked very good, and the 3-0 is kind of justifiable.
Yeah, I think what Boston probably decided coming into this match is that their best option were to play the Sombra version of GOATs instead of running something like, a standard Reinhardt, triple tank, triple support composition. So they decided to run the Sombra, and it has not worked out. So you see longest match win streak here. Vancouver Titans tie now in the Boston Uprising at 15 wins, piece. Very impressive. I do think, though, when you run Sombra of your Boston, and then the Titans are so good at hiding Twilight and making sure he's not in position, you're not going to win that type of scenario. You're going to have to just mirror them at some point. It's kind of like what the Outlaws ran into.
So here's a question for you, Matt. Would you rather RCK only EMP Twilight or EMP'd everyone but Twilight?
It kind of depends on what ultimates you have available as well.
Sure.
Like let's say if you have Grav and Shatter, or if you have a Trance your own to respond, I think then you're just trying to EMP as many people as possible. Like we saw at the end, it was a really nice, good setup where the EMP'd Bumper, and then they got the big Shatter combo off. Like those EMPs you're happy with. I think you just have to keep better tabs on whether Twilight has that Transcendence up, or just try and get like a hack on him before you get like the big EMP on everybody else. But
you can see that is a very impactful and fight-winning ultimate EMP is, but all that needs to be done sometimes is that your Zenyatta uses Transcendence. Now, Bumper did die a few times in that sort of post-EMP Transcendence, but the rest of Vancouver were able to push back and at least equalize.
Well, I think the issue that you come down to is that you get really not a ton of value. You just EMP the Zen, because then you still have to run down everybody else. You don't take anybody else's abilities offline. If you EMP everybody else and you don't burst somebody down before the Zen gets in, then you really don't get a ton out of it. I mean, you do force Transcendence, but at that point, the Titans are coming back, and then you're forced to use support ultimates, right? So you never really get the upper hand.
And the one time that RCK thought he was being clever and he waited until after Twilight's Transcendence had finished, he EMP'd, and then there was a sound barrier coming up from Slime. There was another support ultimate ready to stop that one. Twilight's had a great game so far, Matt. We've seen him play some nice Ana. This is his Zenyatta stats from Kings Row.
Yeah, now this was just from Kings Row, so you see the Transcendence healing, very good efficiency considering he was dodging a lot of those EMPs. Where Boston was rolling when they were running the Ana, if you remember. Vancouver came out, they were running Ana, for a pretty long time, and then once Boston got point B, they switched over Vancouver, and they had Twilight run the Zed instead of the Ana, and they were able to get really good value out of the Transcendence and keep everybody up.
So now the Vancouver Titans are in a position where they're looking very good for stage playoffs. Now it's not confirmed yet, but
they're as confirmed as
between you and I, they're probably going to be
they're
fine.
in a good spot.
There will be a number of teams that will probably come out of stage 2 undefeated. It's the way the schedule's boiled down, and I mean it helps to look at stage 2 as less. The stages is less of a mini tournament and more the overall picture. But Vancouver are still undefeated in the Overwatch League, and there aren't too many people that could boast that anymore.
No, and it's I think we were talking going in that you had like a top 3, a top 4, but I think Vancouver and the Shock have really kind of pushed themselves beyond. And we do have a sub coming in for this final map. It'll be for the Vancouver Titans. So Repel, you can't tell that's him yet. He's got to sit up, get his jersey on, but he's in for Twilight. So there it is, Repel. Trying to fix something on the floor or something. I don't know what he's looking for.
Yeah, so this is what you do. Twilight has a sick game. You sub the man out, give him a break, let Repel come in. And this is what Vancouver often do in series they've already locked up. When you're the Vancouver Titans, being up 3-0 come map 4 is not all that odd an occurrence to have. Let's give you guys a recap of the maps we've had so far and get you guys up to speed on that one, just so you know exactly how it all went down. And as far as the scoreboard's concerned, pretty solid.
I mean, it's a 3-0 for Vancouver, but we have not, they haven't been exactly as dominant as we've seen. I think Boston's really put up a good fight. I know in terms of
Kings Row was very competitive, actually. That was
I mean, Paris is really competitive. Liang Tower is the only one that I felt like Vancouver really kind of asserted like their dominance in the fact that they didn't have to switch off of a less favorable comp to what Boston was running to get the win. But I think Boston, although you lose this series, I think you put up a pretty good fight. Much better than they put up in the playoffs, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. That playoffs match between Vancouver and the Boston Uprising was yuck. Yeah, well, it wasn't great. So here you go. Here's Gibraltar. It's a 3-stage map, and it is purely payload. So you don't need to control a point to capture the payload and get it moving. You just start driving it through the map. Here's the last stage of the map. We often see a bit of Reinhardt played here, as it's a bit more of a straight run home, and it's a long map. It is, by comparison to other maps, quite extensive. So it isn't uncommon, really, to see teams sort of fail to finish the map, even if they perform fairly well. So keep that in mind.
Here we go. This is what I like to see.
Now, yeah, okay, so you see that Janu moves away very quickly here. It's very common for attacking teams to play Roadhog.
Get the good old pirate ship going here.
He might stay on this, though. We've seen Blase play the Hog a fair bit.
Yep. You get 3 tanks in the mix. And got all the damage you need with Color X.
And what good is Brigitte really doing for you now in this composition? You already have the pirate ship. I think it's been named something else now. forget what it was. Noah will tell me. He knows all that stuff. Slime goes down. Color Hex picks him up. Immortality field dropped on the payload, which means it's kind of impossible to kill anyone on there, which is kind of the point.
Oh, nice. Kelix is on the Batiste now, so he's got that immortality field building up the amp matrix rather quickly. As Batiste could do a ton of damage. The burst rifle pretty strong, but then also a ton of healing. As it's going to be difficult to dislodge Color Hex off of the cart. So you see now he's taking a little bit further approach when they don't know where he's coming from. See, look at the distance he's created. There's no way you can close the gap here if you're the Titans.
I think I want to call this composition Cowboy Bebop, because they're pirates, like the pirate ship, but it's a spaceship. They're space pirates. Oh dear, Color Hex fighting through the amplification field. Not much can be done about that one. And Salmin Su, I don't know what he's hoping to achieve, because the payload's already gotten to point A.
And whoever did the sound for the shooting through the amp matrix, you're the real MVP. I mean, that sounds awesome. It's, the bullets just rain through the amp matrix, the double damage comes through, Color Hex just deleting people at that point. And what do you do if you're the Titans? Well, Repel, you go to sleep. And that's what he'll decide to do here. I mean, maybe you have to just kind of use the Transcendence, get on the card, just be able to survive long enough to get through some of this damage. It's going to be hard, though, because you have the Immortality. Hacksaw going over to Genji now, so you'll have the Genji to dive in, get on the Bash.
That was the Vancouver Titans' chance. This is it now. They can get very close to the payload without having to cross too much open ground, and still it doesn't seem to have helped them. Their mortality field is still there. It finally gets taken down, but by the time it's gone, Janu and Bumper are already in the obituaries, man. Slime's dealt with Kelix, but now this will be a pretty great way to clean things up. The janitorial endeavor from Color Hex has been fruitful. And there is just Bumper on the high ground on the wrecking ball, and he can't get close enough. If he does, that's what happens. This is very fast from Boston.
And I think Boston, they've definitely done a good job today coming out with compositions that it forces the Titans to react in some way, not just kind of going in with the 3-3. Although it's been close, they didn't win. So I think you do have a point where, you try things against Vancouver. Vancouver eventually comes out on top. But you do make it a pretty close series all throughout.
Oh, Somerset gets caught, he's down. The Holt was even thrown in there for good measure by Fusions just to make sure the Sombra couldn't skip away. And it has been a competitive series. This map is looking like the best one for Boston. Unfortunately, it happens at the wrong end of the series. But they have another amplification matrix, Matt. Huxel has a Dragon Blade, though, and that is something I'll never get tired of saying. Here's a self-destruct. Oh, the Holt! Nice. That's a cool combo. No one caught by that one. The spawn room was close enough for the rest of the Vancouver Titans to run away. Kelix is going to drop the field down now, but Color Hex is like, what have you done with that? How am I supposed to shoot through that field, bro? Either way, Repel goes down. Fusions and Color Hex combining, and there it is. Huxel descending from the skies. This man has got a score to settle. He's found 2 with a Dragon Blade, and now he has a bit of freedom. No one's focusing him down so much. He can just throw shurikens into Fusions and charge up another blade if he needs to. Boston Uprising might have been finally slowed down, but Fusions comes in with a hold, catches Huxel, and he's picked up by Blase. Now the heavy artillery being brought to bear. And Bumper back to spawn with you. Slime going down. Salmin Su also missing Repel, trying to throw a bionic grenade in the mix to see if they can get an edge somehow, but Fusions will be caught out by it. Blase is still there, the one Color Hex is set up in the background, Matt. He's in the perfect spot to get some sniping done. And the Boston Uprising finish Watchpoint Gibraltar just after I spent so long saying it was a long map.
And that's the 3rd fastest time on Watchpoint Gibraltar. So you see the Uprising having some fun here in the final map. I think this is a series where obviously it's a loss for Boston, but you still feel pretty good about it. You brought out some interesting comps. You kind of drew blood on Vancouver a little bit. You didn't get the win, but still, I think you played around with some stuff that you definitely have seen can work against certain teams. I think you obviously still need to work on your standard 3-3. You always need that to fall back on with the Diva in the mix. But I think now Boston, I think what you see, the reason you have RCK, they have just different abilities to have different looks. A lot of time where, Note, fantastic Diva player. We haven't really seen him flex on other roles until he's joined Dallas Fuel now, playing some other things.
Interesting though, isn't it, that when a Diva player does join Boston, instead of having him play Diva all the time like they had Note do, he's playing Diva the least amount of time, minority of the time. So 4 minutes and 2 seconds. That's a huge time bank for Boston. Now, Vancouver obviously would like to be that fast, but top 3 speeds on Gibraltar don't come by every day. However, the Titans have set multiple map speed records on payload, especially when they're behind. So it's something that they've been known to do. They did it against the San Francisco Shock in the Stage 1 final on Rialto.
I think if you're Boston, you're probably like, well, you know, we want to play a standard 3-3. We want to be good at that, but we also want to add a little Chengdu Hunters in the mix. We can't go full Hunters, right? Nobody can really do what the Hunters do, but yeah, RCK in the mix, get a little bit more flexibility. They're playing really far back here, Boston.
Huxel Doomfist is not a meme, by the way.
No.
That is some serious business.
Maybe you just come out, maybe try and get like an instant kill, but he's going to go back switching
Bro!
Rig. So, oh no.
Okay.
Genji, so.
Good chat, Huxel, good chat.
Maybe they have an idea. I think, you know, you had the Baptiste playing up on the high ground, so I think when you see that, you have an idea they're not running something like a 3-3. You would, I mean, only really the Shock run that, like a lot of the time, so.
This is,
yep, double it up.
This is the equivalent of blowing raspberries at someone across the plate.
Why have one turret when you can have two?
So obviously on the top it would indicate that Vancouver are defending, they're actually attacking here. So just get that sorted. Boston probably wouldn't play this kind of composition on attack. Probably.
Unless it was ranked.
Yeah,
then you would.
Not sure. So Kellex obviously here in a Baptiste, a lot of healing available to him around in a short radius with the use of that bionic launcher. So Minsu sneaks past the Tourbillon turret. Janu's going to get halted there as well. Huxel doesn't quite get to his intended target there, and he's forced to deflect and drop down. RCK just goes and stalls the payload out there. With the Immortality Field, he was able to stay alive, but he'll need to be joined by some teammates in a moment.
Yeah, they just get the hacks onto RCK, so I mean, that's kind of the tough part here for the Boston Uprising is who gets down to contest. If you do contest, you think you're able to pick up some kills, though.
Well, look,
they're going to hold on.
RCK obviously goes down to contest because if he wins, he has mobility enough to get back to the high ground.
But he's getting hacked.
When Fusions has to commit, though, that's when you realize Boston kind of have to break ranks and commit to defending on the ground.
I believe we just saw the Torbjorn hammer kill come down from Blase onto Janu outside of the pilot, in the pilot diva form, so, you know.
Take what you can get, man. Close to Molten Core, which in this situation will make it a little bit tough because the Titans have to play on the payload to get to point A. Molten Core will make it very dangerous for them to do so. That's a huge body grenade! Filthy! It's so filthy from Appel. Boston Uprising able to sort of withstand that one because of the Immortality Field, but now Huxel's Dragonblade is man! He's dangerous! Eventually gets caught, but Slime just taps it in.
Yep, the Nano Blade comes out from the Vancouver Titans. Nothing you can do against that as Boston looks like they're going to make some changes. So Color Hex will play the Zaryas. This is like the first time we're going to see them play like a standard 3-3 throughout the series. We'll take a look. Hacksaws POV.
That's...
He almost gets stuck in the molten core there for a little bit.
Look, cleverly,
low, yeah.
Despite being filled with bloodlust and battle rage, he actually does take down that Immortality Field with the first swipe of his blade. So, first things first, gets rid of that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting any kills at all, obviously. Blase down early. Minsu able to do work from that high ground, and Bumper's just pushing up with that Tesla cannon. Making life a little bit hard. Kellex down to Micro Rockets and Color Hex is going nowhere and fast.
Now, Boston decides to not play Diva here again, so they're going to play the Sombra version. They only really have played the Diva in this series when they absolutely needed to with a bunker type of setup, so RCK looking for hacks here. He's going to get one on Janu on the cart. You have an EMP here for someone.
No, they won't get
They're not even going to get a touch, yeah, I mean.
It looks like Huxel just went for a shield bash on the right side doorway. Whether he stunned someone or not, yeah. He deterred Boston from trying to push in, so Vancouver now are only about 20 seconds behind, and
this is kind of horrible for Boston, though. You have no ultimates. You have the EMP self-destruct in this open space. Bumper's gonna have primal. I mean,
and the longer we go before Boston can fight, i.e. if they get staggered out, the closer the Titans can get towards the end, the less fights and ultimates they'll have to spend to finish the map themselves. So both teams looking like they're gonna have relatively close time banks, at least the way it stands right now. So Minsu, EMP gets 5. Damn, it looks so easy. He just walked straight out there and flung his arms out like a wedding celebrant. And we'll take those any day of the week. Very efficient fight win for the Titans. They spend 1 ultimate, shut down 5 heroes, and completely crush them. Look at what they got to work with here. This is a war chest.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a possibility here to put Janu to sleep. You could use like a self-destruct and then get a hack on a fusion. So RCK gets hacked, so he's not able to use the EMP right now.
Self-destruct coming in here is the one you were mentioning. Janu gets RCK. Guess who had an EMP? It was that guy. He gets caught red-handed, though, out in the open and taken down. Color Hex there with the boot. So Graviton Surge used, but Sound Barrier Johnny's going to push this over the line. There's not much that can be done here. And yeah, the Vancouver Titans don't have as much time in the time bank as Boston, but you can see that they're up to the challenge, Matt. They are more than happy to go ham.
Yeah, once we got to the standard 3-3 with all Titans running on their attack. They have 3 minutes and 15 in the time bank. We'll see what happens after this.
Well, Corporal Cow on Twitter might be right. So looking like no one can take the Titans right now. You know, we always believe in the shock. They're our boys, but we won't get to see them play them for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Blase, by the way, not just a pilot TV, he gets the big suit, first and foremost. How about that?
Look at that.
Straight back to the Mines of Moria with you, Johnny. You just got forged, buddy! So now Boston will go on defense again, similar composition. So Blase will be back on that Torbjorn once more.
So, you know, they're going to run this same exact setup with the extra strong bunker. So that's the first Torbjorn hammer kill we've seen so far this season.
There we go. That's exciting. This is the stats that I want to see.
Yep. Don't know if you'll get another one, but Blase jumps up right to the top of the all-time leaderboards there.
I actually saw a clip from Maniton getting a 4 or 5K hammer kill the other day at a local event in Florida, I believe. That was... I mean, I'm glad he's enjoyed himself.
He's out there doing God's work.
That's it. The Titans took a heavy body grenade hit there from Aim God. That slowed him up a little bit. They're still pushing the payload, though. Huxel is just going to break line aside here and hide behind the payload until someone from Boston commits.
They want to get RCK down again and try and get the hack. Oh! Quick kill on Akelex there, so you don't have the immortality.
Zero fear!
Oh, man.
No fear, man. Huxel straight in. Again, you feel good as Genji in these dives, Matt. When Bumper goes in first, especially Bumper, but any Winston player in general, generates a lot of threat. It is a very large, very bulky simian body hurtling towards you at Mark 2, and you're focusing on trying not to die to the impact, and then Huxel gets to sneak in there and find those important kills. That being said, Batiste is quite a vulnerable dive target.
Yes.
He can't heal himself with his grenade launcher, only with his sort of self-AoE heal, and he doesn't have any mobility in a horizontal direction.
Yeah, it's kind of like a heal over time, right? It's not like a big insta-burst heal, so...
Guess what? It's Huxel time! He'll find one, body grenade gets caught up and stunned. Unlikely he'll get too much more here. He tried, he did. But the Boston Uprising are able to force him back for now. But in the meantime, the rest of the Titans tried to push up. Fusion's dealt with Slime.
Yeah, no, you saw the nano boost from Boston actually go on to the Brigitte, so Blase gets the effects of that to try and counter the nano boosted Genji. So some changes that come out here for Vancouver. Bumper's gonna pop Primal, because why not? EMP comes through here from Somasu. This is winnable for the Vancouver Titans.
Bumper, while he initially looked like he was just annoyed at constantly getting slapped around with the mace, he realized it was a great chance to turn the fight, and the Boston Uprising were trying to fight him in a very dangerous place, a small enclosed space. That is where Winstons like Bumper love to bear their teeth.
So that'll be point B taken for the Vancouver Titans. So in extra time, this is a really good push here for Vancouver as Bumper just tries to move into the choke. It's taken out there by Aim God. Seems like the Uprising want to play close. They know they can't allow much more payload progress. I mean, they do have 4 minutes in the bank, but still, you know, 2 stops from the Vancouver Titans on that first point of defense. It'll be very difficult to match this much progress.
Matt, RCK, Somin Su, is trying to do at RCK what the Hangzhou Spark did. Play Sombra v Sombra, try and duel and deal with RCK. Remember, the Hangzhou Spark won that series against the Uprising. It's a decent way of shutting down an enemy Sombra. RCK went for the EMP, but the sound barrier was there once more. Fusions, though, is trying to bring up the caboose, and he does connect onto Repel with a charge. Bumper on the payload, running out of allies in his close proximity. It's just Huxel there, and he's trying to keep his main tank alive with those Inspire burst heals, but it doesn't get the job done. That'll be it. The Vancouver Titans are finally brought to a stop, but that's a lot of progress.
I think you're very happy with that push. If you're Vancouver, you're able to I think the scariest part is at the beginning where you have to break that bunker setup from the Boston Uprising. And the Vancouver Titans just break it instantly. I mean, Hacksaw goes up there with Bumper, you know, they get the Genji-Winston combination. They're able to just run right through. Set, you know, pretty good progress overall on the map. You know, they take both checkpoints about halfway to taking the third checkpoint there.
I think if you're the Titans at this point, you don't really want to teach the Uprising or any of the other teams looking on anything, right? You don't need to do anything crazy here. They've shown that they can win solidly with a 3-3 composition with no frills. That's probably what they'll look to do here on defense. Again, the addition of Ana here is great because they understand the Uprising just don't like playing that D.Va on attack. And I mean, I'm happy to see more Ana. Repel can do a lot of work here. I mean, we saw Twilight get the job done.
So this would be a change though from Boston because they did run the D.Va on their last attack. RCK now would be running Sombra, which I kind of like running the Hog Orisa with a Sombra instead of the D.Va. I think you can get a little bit more value with the hacks here, right? They try and run in, get behind the Bumper shield or the defense matrix. Let's say they're playing, you know, for the shield to get broke and then the defense matrix to follow it up once they get on. You hack one to the two. You force them to use one of those resources in a way they wouldn't like to, and then you're able to, you know, keep moving the cart.
RCK moves up. Janu
Switches a D.Va.
Okay. I was waiting for a halt there from Fusion to try and pull someone into hook range, but that didn't work. Last they put to sleep. The Titans are playing up quite offensively here. You can see they're going to play around this staircase here. They'll probably just move up, drop down once more, back to their defensive positions. They still need to respect the Bastion, which has now just started to resurface after that first push. Color Hex, though, the payload's a little bit ahead of him right now, so he can't set up there. If he does, he'd be setting up in a very dangerous position, so he can't really do that, which means he can't move while he is in sentry mode.
Now you're just trying to figure out a way to play around this. As I think what the Titans realize is that just don't let the Bastion get set up on the cart, like how you play on Junkertown. Bumper here looks like he could be in trouble, yeah.
I don't know what he was hoping for. If he was going to flank like that, he probably should have tried straight away. He gets away with it. It is ridiculous. Immortality field dropped down for the Boston Uprising, but that's got taken care of very quickly. Solminsu dealt with it. But Color Hex late in the fight was still a huge source of damage.
Now that he's set up on the cart, it'll be the hard part.
Oh, Bumper goes for it to shatter. Knocks Color Hex down. He did manage to get the tank configuration, but he never had a chance to take action. No one more brazen than Bumper. And it's just what we expect from the man at this point in time. Bumper shielding off that self-destruct that came over the top, and Color Hex now switching to attacking Widowmaker. Trying to get a pick, ideally find Repel here, who'd be playing more confidently in lieu of there being a D.Va for Boston. Might be made susceptible to getting picked off by Color Hex.
Oh man, the Titans are so fun to watch. Instead of like coming out and trying to think they have to change up their comp, it's just playing the comp a different way. They just get on the payload right away. Do not let that Bastion get set up. So now the changes come through here for Boston. I expect Color Hex to probably play Zarya here. Yep, so they're going to go to the Sombra version of the 3-3. With all these changes though, Mitch, look at all their ultimates. I mean, everybody down, 10% here. It's going to be a while for them to build these up. They may only actually get one really good fight.
The Uprising were ahead on time bank going into extra innings, but much of that has been burnt down now. Just a minute and 50 seconds left on the clock. And not one more checkpoint to their name. There it is. That's a huge fire strike to follow up the Graviton Surge. And the Uprising get turned into mulch.
Are you going to get these ultimates? I mean, are you going to get a Graviton Surge from Color Hex? Like, you're only at 26% here at minute 30. And depending on how this next fight goes, right? You could have like Bumper come through, the big shatter. May not even get it. It's Bumper's behind them.
If that isn't an Apex play, I don't know what is. And the Vancouver Titans, yo, they're feeling themselves out there, you know?
Yeah, they were like, they got bored of watching the Shock do this to all the other teams. Like, hey, let's try it as well.
I mean, you can replay it. You know how it goes down. Just get absolutely astronomically wrecked.
I mean, look, you're going to get EMP here, but RCK's got to hit it. You have to connect with Slime. If you don't connect with Slime or like Hacksaw, it's a GG. I mean, it's looking really good for Vancouver.
46 seconds and counting. RCK over the top, it's now whatever. He wants to hit both supports, and he does. That's big. But Haksal, actually, there are 3 supports. And he uses the rally to keep the healing going right now. Repel back to a safe place, and Janu! We're waiting for a Janu special. I haven't seen much of it this map, but he found 2 there. Color Hex and Kellex. 2 X's, both mark the spot. They get blown to smithereens.
And like I've been talking about, Color Hex still not with the grab. Summonsu with another one. They want, they're able to just kind of sit outside the spawn door and get it off. So I think you're going to see them play over towards the choke here. You land this grab, it's game over.
You might get there, that's right. Here's the grab, Color Hex. Before he has a chance to charge up his own one, it's over. The Vancouver Titans dominate in this extra innings and show the Boston Uprising that they've always got another gear, they've always got another ace up their sleeve. And of course, if they need him, they've got the Joker bumper there to finish things off. And that payload ain't going anywhere, fam. Vancouver Titans, they've done it. 4-0 in their 15th consecutive match win, continuing to show us why they are the very best in the Overwatch League.
Undefeated overall in the season, undefeated in the stage. Now on the verge of setting the all-time record for just both consecutive wins. I think it's worth the conversation of when do we see them lose? Like, I think we know they're that good now. When is a loss coming? It doesn't look like anytime soon.
With New York showing signs of weakness, who is it that's going to challenge this team? The Shock again? I don't know, man. These guys are really setting the pace and setting records. They started this streak, by the way, in their first match of the Overwatch League. So they haven't lost yet. They walk straight in here from Contenders Korea and just lay the law down. These 6 or 7 individuals, I guess 8 if you count Hureg, have been at the top of their game right now. And oh my gosh, I'm seeing a great sight down on the stage here. I'm very much looking forward to our closing remarks. Let's head down now with a very festive Danny and Bumper.
Bumper, go. Happy Easter! One more time. Happy Easter! Alrighty, everybody, give it up for Bumper and Vancouver Titans. Amazing match, great job today, and congratulations because with today's win, you guys have now tied with the Boston Uprising on the longest match win streak. Bumper, how does that make you feel? 오늘의 승리로 인해 또 밴쿠버 팀이 새로운 기록을 갱신했어요. 새로운 기록은 아니지만 원래 제일 15연승이라는 기록을 보스턴 팀이 단 한 팀이 있었는데 오늘을 이유로 밴쿠버가 그 팀에 조인을 하게 됐습니다. 좀 어떠신가요, 기분?
근데 뭐 맨날 이겨가지고 딱히 그런 기분을 잘 못 느끼겠어요.
Alright, I actually don't feel anything because we've been always winning, so it's just another win. Now, how about this then? If you win the next match, you guys will be breaking that record. Would that make you feel good? 그러면 다음 경기를 이기게 되면은 그 기록을 새로운 기록을 갱신하게 될 텐데 그때 기분은 좀 더 좋아질까요?
그래도 처음으로 찍는 기록이니까 아마 기분은 매우 좋을 것 같아요.
Yeah, if we do break that record, I think we will probably feel good at that time, but not right now. Alrighty, and also, you guys haven't clinched a spot in the stage 2 playoff yet, but it seems very, very likely that Vancouver Titans will be going in. If you guys do go into the playoff, is there a specific team that you guys want to face off against? 자, 스테이지 2 프로 아직 확정은 안 났지만 들어가게 되실 것 같아요. 그리고 들어가게 되신다면 좀 상대하고 싶은 팀이 있다면?
저는 뉴욕을 한번 상대하고 싶어요. 왜냐하면 뉴욕이랑 저희랑 많이 궁금해하시는 분들이 많은데 플레이오프에서 조기 탈락시켜드릴게요.
Alrighty, I really want to face off against NYXL. There's a lot of fans, a lot of Overwatch fans out there that are really curious to see who's going to be the victor of that match. NYXL, we will make sure that we beat you guys the first round that we face off against you guys. That's it for Bumper. Everybody give it for Bumper one more time. Casters, back to you guys.
I love it.
I feel like Bumper in Bunny Ears is just fan service to the big Chungus meme. You know, he really makes it work. Fantastic series, of course, from the Vancouver Titans. Just when we thought that they might have been bested in that last map, they come out and start spawn camping, which is just shows to me just how far ahead of the rest of the field that they are, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're dominant right now, and we can take a look at our HP Omen player of the match. It's going to be Twilight for this one, so he doesn't play map 4, but in the 3 maps they play, he was huge on the Ana, and then really, once they started to get rolling with that Sombra comp boss, and the way they were able to counter it is just his fantastic positioning on the Zenyatta, really getting those transcendences out time and time again, the big sleeps. Twilight had himself a very strong series today.
Yeah, I really feel like Twilight is a silver bullet in the Vancouver Titans arsenal when they go up against a team like Boston, who are quite happy to forego playing the D.Va in favor of the Sombra. Twilight can handle himself, and then he really makes his impact felt that much more when there's no defense matrix in play. Big bardic grenades, big sleep darts, and sitting out for the final map didn't really hurt. the Titans' performance, of course, that had plenty of action and talent to back him up there. But great series overall from this team. Solomon Sue also showed us a bit of that Sombra. We're starting to see teams now take their own Sombra to go for those 1v1s, pressure the enemy Sombra, try and hack them. First it was the Hangzhou Spark, now we're seeing it from the Titans.
It was great to see Hacksaw on the Genji today as well. Get to see that throwback, and he played it phenomenally, as you expect.
Makes me happy to see that. Our next match coming up, though, is one I think with quite a few hearts on the line here.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Houston Outlaws guy up against the Shanghai Dragons. The Outlaws, they need some W's, Matt. The Dragons have been looking good. It's going to be a tough job, and we'll see if those lads can take it out. We'll be back after the break for that game and many more.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.